when you were a teenager?
My name is James E. Butler. I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas.
You would have been about 15 during 1925 to 1942.
That's right.
So you would have grown up in the silent generation. Briefly discuss the economics of family and the area where you grew up. Like, so what did people earn for working, and what was the cost of gas and food and entertainment, like movies?
Well, I grew up primarily during the Depression.
Okay.
The Depression began in 1929. I was probably about 15 years old then.
Okay.
And the cost of gasoline back in those days was about 15 cents a gallon.
How about employment? How much did people get paid?
Well, I was working at the packing house in Kansas City, Kansas for 18 cents an hour. That was a pretty good wage. $1.80 for a 10-hour day.
Okay, briefly discuss the social life. Like, what did you guys do for entertainment?
Well, we played marbles for one thing. Have you heard of marbles?
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that anymore now. And we played basketball, and we played tennis, and football was coming up. It wasn't as popular as it is now, of course.
Okay. Did you guys have movies?
Movies?
Uh-huh.
They had what they call silent movies, and how they were reacting to their questions.
Was there a certain place that you had to go to watch those? Did you
Yeah,
guys have
well,
television?
we had, in those days, we had what we call total segregation. We had a Dunbar Theater in Kansas City, Kansas. But
How much did it cost to go there?
one dime,
One dime? Oh,
One dime.
goodness.
get in the movie and watch the movie.
Did they sell popcorn and stuff in there?
You know, yes, they did.
They did. Okay. Do you know about how much that used to cost?
Well, I think you can get a bag for a nickel. But you know, one of the things that we used to do, and you wouldn't believe this, sometimes for recreation we used to learn poems, and we would go in a place and sit down and reciting poems. So this was the cultural side of what we were doing. I don't know, I can't understand why we did it, but it was entertaining to us.
Okay.
I think the teachers were urging us to learn poetry. So those who did loved it.
The Depression, you said you lived through the Depression, so what was that like?
Many people didn't have work at all. They had what you call make-work projects. Franklin Roosevelt, president at that time, created jobs for people to work, like rebuilding parks and upgrading streets and upgrading buildings, school buildings, and anything that needed work. He looked about the nation and found work for people who didn't have work.
Okay. What was the role that religion played in the community at that time?
Oh my. The church has always been the hub around which the black people associated with. It was from the church that almost all of our social activities emanated, except the movies, something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But morals and duties and the way to act in public and all that, we taught that in the church.
Was there any taboos? Like, what did society frown upon as a teenager? Like, what were teens not supposed to do?
Yeah, you know, we had, well, they sold whiskey openly and beer. And Franklin D. Roosevelt, I think, killed prohibition.
What technology did you guys have? Were computers around, radio,
No,
television?
No, computers. No. We had typewriters.
Okay.
They were heavy typewriters, very heavy to carry from one room to another. But you've seen typewriters.
Yeah.
This was before radio. I heard my first radio in 1923.
Okay. How was transportation?
We had streetcars. I don't know if you ever heard of a streetcar, but they were run by trolley. They had electric wires hooked up over the streets. And you'd have a pole that was hooked up from the streetcar to the trolley wire, and that was power that the trolley could run from street to street, uphill, downhill, wherever you wanted to go.
Did people own cars? Were there cars?
Yeah, they did, but not too many because the cars cost so much. I remember you used to be able to buy a Ford car for $800.
And that was top of the line car?
Top of that, well, it was almost the only car.
Did you have any heroes as a teenager? Any heroes as a teenager?
Yeah, you know, we heard of Frederick Douglass. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Have you heard of Booker T. Washington?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were heroes. And we had a fellow by the name of Marcus Garvey. You probably never heard of Marcus Garvey.
No.
He came from Jamaica to the United States to try to get all black people to go back to Africa.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had three sisters, no brothers.
Were there any fears or concerns during teenage years when you were growing up?
Yes, we were afraid of the Ku Klux Klan.
Were there any aspirations or dreams that the culture had during these years?
Yeah, you know, the goals that we had in those days, I think teenagers like I was, we wanted to either grow up to be a teacher or a preacher or a doctor. Beyond that, we didn't have too many dreams about being very much of anything other than doctors, teachers, or lawyers. Yeah, we wanted to be lawyers.
Was there extracurricular activities at school? Like, what did...
Yes, we had what you call manual training. You call it cabinet making nowadays, I guess. I don't know what you call it, but we took pride in making cabinets and tables and chairs and things like that. And then we would appear in plays. We had plays where you'd come on stage and play a certain part, you know. Some of Shakespeare's plays. That was actually curriculum.
What about relationships as teenagers? Like, were you allowed to have girlfriends, and what age?
Yeah, a lot of had girlfriends after you became 18. Some did it anyway, you know.
Did you have a girlfriend before 18, Mr. Butler?
You know, that's an unfair question. I guess I lied to you, but I know what's successful. I know what.
Also in class, we learned that World War II was going on during this period. Did you?
Yeah, I went in the Army in 1942. August of 1942. World War II was gone. World War II started December 7th, 1941, as you probably know.
Did you have to go?
Yes.
And what was that?
All men ages 18 to 45 were drafted if they could, unless they were disabled. We had 11 million people in the Army and Navy and Air Force and Coast Guard in those days, in World War II.
And what did you do in the Army, Mr. Butler?
Well, I was a clerk because I had graduated from high school in 1931. I could type pretty good. So they made a clerk out of